Hey there everybody, Ms. Smith here. We are going to be doing the absolute values inequalities number 3 today. And the problems we're going to do are numbers 1, 4, 5, and 8. So if you'd like some help with those, then stick with me. We're going to go over them. All right, starting with number 1. We have a lot of stuff going on here. We have 9 plus 4 times the absolute value of negative 6m is less than 33. So again, this 4 is timesing into the negative 6m, but we can't distribute because these aren't parentheses, they're absolute value bars, and you can't distribute with those. So let's tackle this problem. First of all, we're going to get rid of the 9 by subtracting it. So you subtract that 9 from both sides, and we'll get 4 times negative 6m is less than, let's see, 33 minus 9 is going to give you 24. And next off, we've got to get rid of that 4. So again, 4 times all of this. So the way to get rid of that 4 is to do the opposite of times. We're going to divide. So divide by the 4. And you're left with absolute value of negative 6m is less than 24 divided by 4 equals 6. All right, so now we have isolated our absolute value expression. It's by itself on the left-hand side of the equation. So we're going to split our equation into 2. So let's do negative 6m is less than 6. And then we're going to do negative 6m is less than 6. Okay, and let's solve. So dividing here by negative 6, and what do we have to do when we divide by that negative? That's right, we're going to flip the absolute value expression around. So it's going to be m is greater than negative 1. And then over here, negative becomes positive. So you have 6m is less than 6. And then you're going to divide through by that 6. And you'll get m is less than 1. Okay, let's put this on the graph. So m is greater than negative 1. So we're going off this way. And it looks like we have m is less than 1. And I'm using these open circles because it's not or equal to. It's just less than and greater than. So m is less than 1. We're going down this way. And they meet in the middle. And when they connect in the middle like this, you use the word and in between. So I'll write my little and right there. And finally, we need our interval notation. So starting at the low end, we have negative 1. And it goes all the way up to positive 1. And when you have those open circles, we're going to use parentheses. So it will look like that. And then all of this plus that graph up there is our answer. Okay, moving on to number 4. All right, again, we have quite a few things in front of that inequality sign. We need to get the absolute value expression by itself, so let's get rid of that 2. We're going to get rid of it by adding 2 to both sides. And then we're left with absolute value of 5 minus x is greater than 5 plus 2 equals 7. Okay, we're ready to split that into 2 different expressions. So 5 minus x is greater than 7. And we have negative 5 minus x is greater than 7. We'll start with this one first. So let's subtract our 5 from both sides. And you're left with negative x is greater than 7. Now we can't leave that as negative x, so to get rid of the negative, let's divide by negative 1 on both sides. So divide by negative 1, divide by negative 9. And we have to flip our sign. We're going to get x is less than negative 7. Okay. And now I did something wrong, didn't I? Well, yes, look at me. Oh my goodness. I bet you guys all saw my mistake, didn't you? 7 minus 5 does not equal 7. No. 7 minus 5 equals 2. Ah, that's so much better. And now 2 divided by negative 1 is going to be negative 2. Oh, I'm so lucky here because it's easy to make a 7 into a 2. Ha! Okay. All fixed up. Did you get x is less than negative 2? Good work. All right, over here, we have negative 5 minus x is greater than 7. So let's get rid of this negative first. It's kind of like a negative 1 out there, and we need to get rid of that. So we're going to divide by negative 1 on both sides. And then we'll be left with just what's inside here. 5 minus x, and don't forget to flip your sign there, is less than negative 7. We'll subtract the 5 from both sides, and we'll get negative x is less than, let's see, negative 7 minus 5 is going to give you negative 12. And then once again, you have that negative x. So we're going to handle that by dividing by negative 1, and that will give you x, flip your sign, greater than, and negative 12 divided by negative 1 is 12. So x is greater than 12. So let's look at this on the graph. We have x is less than negative 2. So let's do our open circle and go that way for less than. And we have x is greater than 12. Again, open circle, and this time we're going this way. All right, so when you have the graphs that go the two different directions, this way, instead of meeting in the middle, you need to do the or. So we'll write or in there. And finally, we need interval notation. I am running out of room, so I'm just going to kind of continue on down this way. So the lowest end here is going to be your negative infinity. So you have negative infinity, and then that goes up to negative 2. To negative 2. Open circle, so I'm doing parentheses. And now I'm going to write my u for union. And then I skip to up here. I've got 12. And again, it's an open circle, so we're doing parentheses. And it goes up and up forever to infinity, so infinity is that last thing I write. So your answer is the graph, and it's also all of this. Maybe yours looks neater than mine, but hopefully you can read that okay. All right, good work, you guys. We're going on to number 5. Number 5. Okay. Again, our first goal is to get the absolute value expression by itself. So let's get rid first of the 1. It's minus 1, so we're going to go plus 1 to get rid of it. And then you're left with 10 times absolute value of n over 9. That canceled out, and so greater than or equal to 9 plus 1 equals 10. And now we have to get rid of our 10. So divide by the 10. And you're left with absolute value of n over 9 greater than or equal to 1. Now we have our absolute value all by itself on its side of the inequality, and we can divide it into two separate inequalities now. So we're going to have n over 9 greater than or equal to 1, and we will also have negative n over 9 greater than or equal to 1. Okay, let's solve. Over here we need to get that 9 out of the denominator, so let's multiply both sides by 9. And what that does is that cancels that out, and you get n is greater than or equal to 9. Over here, same idea, we're going to multiply by 9 on both sides, and that'll leave us with negative n is greater than or equal to 9. So this side looks good. This side we're left with a negative n, we've got to get rid of that, so let's divide by negative 1. And we're left then with n, flip the sign because of dividing by a negative, is less than or equal to, and then 9 divided by negative 1, negative 9. Okay, let's get that on the graph. N is greater than or equal to 9. So here's our 9. It's a solid dot this time because we have that or equal to in the expression. Going off that way because n is bigger than 9. And we have n is less than or equal to negative 9. So let's find our negative 9. Again, a solid dot, and we're going off this way because n is less than or equal to negative 9. Once we have this, we are ready to decide if it's an and or an or. It's going off two different directions, so it's got to be an or. I'm just going to copy this down here in greater than or equal to 9. There we go. And then our or goes here. So here's the first part of our answer. Now we need our interval notation. Starting at the very lowest end, it looks like we're going to negative infinity all the way up to negative 9. Infinity always gets a parentheses. Looks like that -9 is a closed dot, so we are going to do a nice square bracket there. And now we do our union, our U for union. Going up to here, we've got +9. Again, it's a closed dot, so we're going to do that square bracket, and it goes all the way up to infinity. There we go. And now we are done with that problem. So let's box it off. That's the whole answer, along with the graph. We got one more left. Let's look at number 8. Okay, number 8, we've got to get rid of that 10. We've got to get rid of that 5. Which one should we get rid of first? All right, if you said 10, good work. Let's subtract it away. So 10 minus 10 is going to be 0, so I'm just going to kind of cancel that out. And that leaves me with 5 times absolute value of -3 plus v, less than or equal to 45 minus 10, that's 35. Okay, now we've got to get rid of that 5 by dividing it, which leaves us with that absolute value of -3 plus v is less than or equal to 7. Now we have our absolute value all by itself over here, and we can divide it or split it into two separate expressions. So we have -3 plus v is less than or equal to 7, and we're also going to have -3 plus v less than or equal to 7. Okay, let's solve this one first. Let's add 3 to both sides, so you're going to get v is less than or equal to 10. Okay, that looks good. That was easy. Over here, let's get rid of this negative in front. It's basically a -1, so let's just divide by -1 on both sides. And that will cancel the negative out. You're still left with the negative on the inside, though. And then 7 divided by -1 is -7. And because we divided by a negative, we're going to flip our sign around. Now we get rid of the -3 by adding it. So -7 plus 3 is -4. Great, so we have v is greater than or equal to -4. Let's take these two things, and here I'm going to copy this down just so that they're both kind of on the same level, and I just have to figure out whether I'm writing and or in between, and that's all I need to do. So v is less than or equal to 10. Less than or equal to is going to mean a closed dot. V is greater than or equal to -4. So we're going to put a closed dot on that -4. Okay, so for the less than or equal to 10, it was going to be coming down this way. And for the greater than or equal to -4, it's going to be coming up this way. And they're basically just going to meet up in the middle. And when they meet up in the middle like that, that's when it's an and. So let's just write our and. And now one step left, interval notation. So the low end is going to be -4. And the high end is going to be 10. And where we have closed dots, that means we need brackets. So do your brackets. And voila, we are done. Good work, you guys. Have a great day.